Hello, welcome. I'll say it again. Welcome to Cheer Chat, you guys. Happy 2024. Cannot believe it. I didn't include 2024 on a contract I was working on earlier, but I luckily caught myself. Hopefully, you guys are having a great start to the new year. Um, I have my rose, and I'm happy to talk to you guys. It's the first Cheer Chat of the year about a trip that I snuck in down to Portland. I'm in Seattle, if you guys don't know, and Portland's it's like that, like just on the borderline edge of being like too long of a trip, but it's really not. And I kind of kick myself for not going down way more often than I have to catch the Portland Trailblazer performance teams. I got to see the BlazerDancers and Rip City Crew and their stunt team because they're just out there stunting the whole game perform. And I'm excited to share with you guys just the experience and, some other little odds and ends. But hope to, just kick it off strong because I'm going to be, we all made our resolutions. I don't know about you guys. I did not. Okay, one of my resolutions was to get better about social media for the podcast. I'm really private. And so posting is just, it is what it is. Why did I already fail? Like I was supposed to do like a what do you call it? Like end of the year recap of like my top moments of 2023, and I already. It's fine. On that note, I'm gonna just drink. I mean, you gradually get better. It's just gonna be what it is. But I did enjoy scrolling and watching everybody else's like end of the year recaps. But did I do one? No. And I didn't get around to doing a New Year's Day post where you can kind of sneak it in. If you didn't do the recap, just whatever. It's fine. It's fine because there's still 300 and however many days left, right? But I hope your year's off to a great start. I hope you have your resolutions, goals, affirmations, all of the positive things flowing and that you're getting a rhythm with it. I'm still working on mine, but one of my goals though, for sure, and it's probably my goal every year, is to travel and go to more places. And again, this trip that I was able to sneak in was just right on point in terms of just like why I need this kind of energy. I mean, I wish I could do it every month, but then I'd be broke and you know what I mean, and kicked out of my new house and all of the things. But that's one of my resolutions and goals is just to prioritize travel and being able to do my best to get you guys footage from these games because otherwise, unless you are like a subscriber to the NBA little league pass where you apparently just get to watch all your performances because the cameras just don't stop. I mean, I'm tempted to do that, but then I'd be talking about it and you guys wouldn't be able to see it. So it's kind of like pointless. But going to the games is you can't beat it anyway. And so that's one of my goals is to go visit you guys. It is just so much fun to go to the games, especially when I have just the invitation to spend the day with the directors. You guys, I'm just like a little kid, and it's like Disneyland to me. Like I love walking through, the arena before the game starts, just all of the energy, all the buzz. Everybody doing their little jobs, and I'm fascinated from A to Z. And so Michelle was gracious enough to invite my daughter and I down to Portland and catch them for their like court rehearsal and hanging out with them, eating with them and watching them get ready and going on the parade before the game. And so I tried to share as much as I could in my story that day, just to give you a feel of what the game day excitement and buildup is like. But I'm going to give you my little recap. Y'all ready? I'm going to take another sip. It's good to see everybody. Oh, I feel like I got way more stuff to talk about too, because we'll talk. Okay, I just thought of some things and I'm like, I want to know, we'll do that after. Let me make a little note. All right, so who is excited to talk Portland? As you guys know, I have gone to a game. This was like probably the first few seasons of the podcast because Michelle was one of the first, I think the Roisha, who was a former Blazer dancer, was the first NBA dancer that we had on the podcast when we first started. And then Brittany and I got the courage to ask Michelle if we can interview her as well. So they've always been on my radar. For those of you who don't know, I don't remember what we named her episode, but Michelle, there is an interview in the podcast where we do interview Michelle and talk about her leadership style and her teams. And so definitely encourage you to go back and listen to that. I probably should have too, but it's fine. Michelle is just a wonderful human being, just so open and compassionate and just so chill. Like she's just got the demeanor of somebody that's just like I couldn't even imagine her upset or just riled up. She's just like super just steady, even, and so warm at the same time. And so I adore her. But coming into this game, she was explaining that like there was just a long stretch. You know how NBA schedules are where they're like, ooh, I got a comment. Hold on. I remember listening to both of those episodes before I tried out for Blazer Dancers. Okay, Maddie. Like those were like, I mean, if you guys can imagine, we were just a baby podcast. I'm still just a baby podcast, but we were so excited because being coming from the NFL, and you guys, the world was just not this tight where everybody kind of knows everybody just by virtue of that. It was a little earlier on, and I think there weren't really a lot of accounts of what it was like. And so for NFL, we just were so curious, like, what is it like in the NBA? Is it similar? Is it different? Like, so we were learning so much. It was such an eye-opening experience for us to hear about the number of games they did, like how the heck they manage practices, like all of that. So super excited to hear that you checked them out. If you know the episode titles, you want to drop them in the chat, please do. Okay, any hoodles, please keep chatting with me. This is always so much fun when it's interactive. But you guys apparently had come off of like, or this was the very last game of the year for you, and you had also like performed at like, I don't know, fill in the blank, like 10 games in 15 days or something extreme like that. And I just wanted to kind of acknowledge, because of the crazy NBA schedules where you have 40, like people hear 40 home games and they're probably like, okay, that sounds great because NFL is only 10. But I just really want to emphasize the amount of work that you guys have to put in to keep up with that kind of a demanding schedule. Somebody, I don't remember exactly who in the locker room, just mentioned that you guys hadn't even had a chance to practice for a stretch of that period because it was just so many like back-to-back games and just really, really, really challenging. And so I just want to commend you for having not just the stamina to kind of put in that kind of work night after night. I mean, that means like if you did have a job that you're like going to one job, reporting to cheer the game for the evening, kind of like rinse and recycle, repeat. What's the word? You know what I mean? Where you like, that's just like on a hamster wheel and not stepping off for a long period of time. And I just think that's a amount of work ethic for NBA dancers. That's just a little, it's different from NFL. Can't front. And so I just think for people who are gearing up for auditions and really understanding kind of the job description, because it can get hectic during the season. And one of the things that I had in my notes was just like, I mean, I've been to a game before, but if you have a team that's more or less kind of like the same group, more, I know they kind of have like a certain number that's less than the amount of people on the team that are performing each game. But if you're like performing, night after night after night, the extra challenge that I don't take for granted is just like selling the enthusiasm level, right? Because like, I know everybody's having the time of their life and everything, but there's that time of the season where you might get a little like, this might seem mundane, but for you to be able to put it on, like think Disneyland, right? Like none of those prince and princesses or people in costume, even if they're doing the same exact thing every single day, they can't afford to like be ho-hum about it. Like you have to make me feel like this is the first time that you've ever done this and it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I just want to say, like, attending the game, and I'm always paying attention to all aspects of the game day experience. Like it felt genuine. I felt excited when you took the court. And I just think that that's just a testament to like the true passion that has to be there. Like you have to really be feeling it. Otherwise, it's probably not going to translate, especially if you're kind of like doing it night after night after night. So just kudos to the Blazer Dancers, the Rip City crew, the Stunt team, just for bringing that energy. I think the Blazers game day experience is a little, coming from Miami, it just, it's a different markets, right? And different vibes. And, Blazer Dancers is just I would say just like a laid back demeanor for like the fan base. They're not like overly excited. They're not underexcited. They're, it's a nice family night out is what it feels like. But I just will say like the entertainment factor was there every time you guys took the court. And I appreciate that, especially knowing how crazy your schedule was ahead of time. Let me look at my notes because I'm just getting excited. So it seems to be the thing with NBA where they kind of do the parade around the concourse before the games, and um, I like that experience, even though I swear y'all be going so fast. My daughter and I were like, I'm sorry in advance. No, I don't think I tried to capture it when I was racing to keep up with you guys, but definitely wanted to catch your performances. But the fans really do love that, you guys. I probably ruined, I don't know how many fans' videos because I was following after you guys as they were trying to record. But it's just such a fun way of getting people jazzed up. And, I think I caught all of the entertainment teams, but just doing a little, A count or two. Rip City Crew did like a freestyle circle, and the stunters doing their thing. I just think that that's a cool element. I like also when teams, obviously have like the photo op opportunities because, that's really when you're not, trekking through the concourse, but you're actually getting a chance to talk to fans and to take pictures with them and all that jazz. But you guys have a busy schedule leading up to the game. So I understand if you don't have time for all that, but I do like the fan interaction. I like catching it in time to see how the various teams interact. And I think it just really, speaks to the ambassador piece, where that's the only interaction that they get with you because otherwise you're on the court or you're in a tunnel or wherever, in the locker room for some teams. So I thought that was really fun. I was just struggling to keep up with you guys. I was very lucky because, I keep hearing from different directors that they're performing once a game, which just drives me nuts because I'm like, oh, there's so much more, right? There's so many timeouts during the game. And, but I was lucky enough to catch two performances because the BlazerDancers performed by themselves and they also performed with Rip City Crew. I did post it so you guys can go and take a look at the performances. But I just felt really lucky because I was able to catch that. And let's see, my favorite part, I think, was just like all the locker room chilling. Like you guys, that's kind of one of the things that when I think about my career with Seahawks and stuff, I miss practice and I miss the locker room, because it's just all sorts of bonding and just kind of like that. I won't say calm before the storm, but just seeing everybody like supporting one another, helping one another, getting ready. I saw a different hair tool that I was kind of like, let me figure out what that's going on, what that's all about. It was like one of those Dyson suck your hair up air wrap types, but it wasn't Dyson. Anyway, I was just happy to be back there with you guys, clearly. Seeing you celebrate in the locker room afterwards, it just was really, really fun. My daughter and I had a great time. And it just, I don't know, you get a real vibe for the team. I think just seeing that behind the scenes locker room action, getting to see you guys in person and talk to you. I just appreciate everybody who took the time to welcome me. And it was wonderful hanging out with you. And I should be down before the season's over. Like it's really easy drive. The food is amazing in Portland. And my daughter and I had some amazing crepes the next morning, did some shopping. So why is that not happening more often? I don't know, but we'll fix that in 2024. Cheers to Portland. Cheers to Michelle. It was great seeing Lisa, Rip City Crew, Lindsay, who's also helping to coach. Like I just had a ball. Hands down, had a ball. Any questions that you guys have from seeing the performance, posts, or anything like that? I'm going to drink and then I'm going to move on to, I got to talk Pro Bowl just a little bit. Okay, no questions. I'm tracking Pro Bowl announcements. Honestly, this gets me really excited every year. I usually am like, there's some other people who are also tracking it. And, we would compare notes and make sure we didn't miss announcements. But I've been very excited to see the announcements so far. I have my little list. If I'm missing anybody, when I name the ones that I'm still waiting on, please tell me, because sometimes these teams will sneak it into a post. I remember that I feel like it was like the Top Cats last year where I thought I was monitoring and looking for like the Pro Bowl logo and the whole like whoop about their Pro Bowl selection, and theirs was very like tucked in. And so if I miss them, I'm waiting on them again. Please let me know. But I'm waiting on the Top Cats, the Tampa Bay Bucks, the Miami Dolphins, and the New Orleans Saints. Now I just saw the Saints today post that they posted the nominees that were like selected by their teammates to be eligible for selection for Pro Bowl. So I'm guessing that the announcement is coming soon. I am a little bit on pins and needles on that one, just from seeing some of those dancers at Pro Action, and yeah. But I'm excited for all of them. The Rams just announced today. I caught that, so yay. But I wanted to get you guys' opinion. That was so real word. You guys is wow. 2024 off to a great start. I'm gonna drink on that note. What's your opinion? I told y'all last time that I am going back to producing episodes with interviews, right? And occasionally, if Cheer Chat's going to seem too long, then maybe I should do an episode so that people aren't like listening, trying to scroll around on Instagram to get to where they may be left off. But it's going to be like, I'm not necessarily going to put the pressure on myself for 10 episodes a season. But for a Pro Bowl, I really, really, really like to give some time and space and energy and recognition for everybody to know what the Pro Bowl cheerleaders are about, you know, to the best I can, like sharing why they have been selected. And short of like reading their bios, like they're from this university and they have this occupation, I would like to get some more insider information on the people who were selected from your team. And it might be a little high school, like send the love gram, but like if you guys have any supporting words that you want to share for your Pro Bowl cheerleader that was selected, that would be part of the episode. I would love to record that episode. Brittany and I did that. Was that our first season? Or maybe that way we started our second season, where we dedicated the whole episode to discussing each Pro Bowl cheerleader and like all the inside stuff that we were able to find on them. But it was just really a chance to kind of like acknowledge their accomplishments, their backgrounds. And I would love to do that, but I'm working with kind of limited information that might be either on Instagram or their website. So the doors are open for anyone to kind of like just a little message. I think that would really be sweet and touching for them to kind of have commemorated. I'm sure you guys do your own little things, sending cards and encouragement to your Pro Bowl cheerleaders. But if you wanted it to be a little bit more public, I'm happy to share that out anonymously or otherwise. But the question was, which is super long-winded, the question was, do you want that to come by way of episode or just going live and talking about it? Maybe it'll be more interactive. I don't know. But that was the question. If you were down to like share some information or words of encouragement to your Pro Bowl cheerleader, I think it'd be nice to read that. And I think it'll come across better in an episode, if that makes sense, than going live and doing it. But I might put that in the story for you to give your little vote for. But I can't wait to talk Pro Bowl. It's my way of like doing my research before traveling to Orlando. And I am going, so I will see all the Pro Bowl cheerleaders in Orlando. And by the time I'm there, I know them by name. I have like a sense of like their background. And so I would like that episode or Instagram Live to happen before the end of January. Okay, next topic. I'm just going to jump in with something that's random and just came to mind before I forget. During my little vacation over the holidays, I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday season. I had two things on my list to do with my free time, and that was to see the Beyonce movie because I did not make it to her concert, and I just really want to cry because I didn't. But I actually enjoyed the movie because there weren't phones. I wasn't super far away because I wasn't going to spend my whole life savings on a ticket or whatever. And I enjoyed that. And then I also watched The Color Purple. And I don't know if you guys follow Rob Rich. Rob is one of the choreographers at Pro Action Dance. But a lot of people who were involved in the production for The Color Purple, you know, kind of started posting after the movie premiered. You guys. Now, Rob was one of my favorite choreographers from Pro Action year to year, hands down, period, point blank in the story. He's brings like this stepping quality, like he's just dope. He had like a whole, like he had in the color purple, and he posted about it, and I just want to just say, wow, just I don't think he's watching this by any means, but just dang, you were just so talented, and it's so exciting to see people like growing in their careers and reaching these milestones. I think it was bucket list for him to do a movie. And I just think you guys have such beautiful personalities, and I get behind you. I'm like rooting for you and all of the things. And it was just so exciting to see that. There's also a dancer, I'm going off of the Instagram handle, but I want to say Cottrell, and I want to say he cheered for the Tennessee Titans. He also was a dancer in the color purple. He shared some scenes on his Instagram that were, I don't think they made it into the movie, but just really, 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 really talented performers that got the opportunity to be a part of a movie, working with Fatima Robinson, who's, you know, as you guys know, the creative director for the Nick City Dancers. Had to be an experience of a lifetime. And so I just wanted to just say, like, congratulations. And some people have visions beyond pro dance, and like whether that's, you know, touring professionally with an artist, or you know, being in movies, being in music videos. It just makes me excited to see your dreams come true. So just wanted to give that random shout out that was not part of my notes, but there we go. Moving on, I wanted to just do a check-in because this was probably like late October, whenever it broke, the whole Sacramento Kings lawsuit. Usually, you know, the lawsuit was filed at the end of October. Usually there's a certain amount of time that the other side can respond. I checked in to see if there was a response yet from either the Kings or the choreographer that was named individually. And there hadn't been much in terms of files. There's going to be like a case management conference in July. But I wanted to kind of report back because I did hear from an NBA director that reached out, and I just thought it was really, really cool what was shared about let me give you the recap again, just so you don't know, if in case you didn't watch this live, because it kind of was a little long. But in that Sacramento Kings lawsuit, there was a claim that was brought on the basis of disability discrimination, where the dancer disclosed in the auditions process that there was an underlying disability. And one of the claims was that the Sacramento Kings did not accommodate for this dancer's disability in the audition process. And so I thought that that was super interesting and wanted to kind of like see how the court would rule on that, because there are laws that require employers to make certain accommodations, and I wasn't sure how it would apply in like the audition context. But it's a really interesting issue, because I don't know that directors are necessarily thinking about this. If they're not, then they may want to check in with their legal department and kind of make sure that they're conducting auditions in a way that, you know, is accommodating to those with disabilities. But anyway, so the director had reached out and just wanted to kind of share that they did have a couple of dancers. One was partially blind, I think, and the other was deaf, but they reached out ahead of auditions just to let, you know, the director know that they were interested in auditioning. They were kind of going to some of the clinics and workshops that they were giving. And so, you know, what the team did, just as a way of making sure that they were accommodated, they hired an interpreter. Okay, this is for the dancer who was deaf. They had an interpreter come to each clinic that the dancer was interested in attending, as well as at auditions. And that team paid for that, made sure that one of their captains was available and accessible, kind of like side by side during the audition process, during the clinics. And I think they mentioned that the dancer who was partially blind did have their own assistant, but they definitely, you know, provided accommodations for those dancers. And so I just think, obviously, if it's sprung on you and you didn't know, I mean, do you have these people, you know, interpreters or different things on hand at auditions just in case? I don't know. I mean, you know what it's like. You register, But maybe your audition application needs to have something that just allows people to disclose if they need any special accommodations. Um, and then you provide those accommodations, right? I just think it was super fascinating. And I think the director for just kind of mentioning the way that they tried to take into account meeting the needs of the dancers that had disabilities. I just think it's something, love to hear from anybody else. If there are certain practices that you follow with auditions, or just even for our dancer community, if you are wanting to audition for a team and you don't think that you have it and the chance to, or be an equal playing field, there are accommodations that can be made for you. So I thought that was awesome. I wanted to share back out. I'll try to follow this lawsuit, but I don't really know where it's going. But I wanted to hear what the court ruled on it. I think they were wanting a jury trial on this whole issue, but there are laws protecting people with disabilities, and it does apply in our space. And so that's why I just wanted to circle back. Let's see. Dang, is that everything? See, this is, I'm trying to keep my little cheer chats not 50 million minutes long. The last thing I'll say is just, I'm back. Cheers to 2024 for that reason. I'm kind of excited. I'm still mapping everything out, but like I said, it will feel really good when I get into the rhythm of posting and having episodes. Not, like I said, anything that stresses me the heck out, because it's just me. But I've had some wonderful help from, my intern back in the day, who's doing such amazing things. She's moved on from trying to help my behind, but you know what I mean? Like she gave me some great ideas and content and things that I really just didn't have the wherewithal to implement, but I'm really trying to rededicate, and I'm excited. So I'm soliciting episode ideas, people that you want to hear from. I had like a long list of people that eventually I wanted to talk to. I can revisit it, and putting yourself out there is so like, you know what I mean? Like, but whatever, put your big girl panties on, do it. I'm happy to reach out to people that you want to hear from. Our space has evolved a lot, and that list I'm sure will grow, but this is your podcast just as much as it is mine. So let me know if you have either cheer chat topics or guests that you would like me to interview, and I'll start trying to build out my list. Everybody gets busy really quickly, but I'm excited to start to get back in the swing of things again. On that note, there's always travel, and there's always going to be something to talk about when I come see you guys perform. So like I said, I will be in Pro Bowl, at Pro Bowl. I know there's so many people who go. So like, if you're going to Pro Bowl, please, come say hi. If we happen, to be at Camp Springs, whatever that little place is called. Like, I love meeting people. I love seeing the support where people travel to Orlando to be there for their teammates. I wish I could go to a Super Bowl, but we already know Vegas is doing the most, and I will not be in the mix. I saw Usher 3 times last year, you guys, so I feel like I can let him have Super Bowl by himself. It was all accidental, kind of, but I saw him once in March. I saw him in Paris, because Paris is way better. It's Paris. There's no other need to explain why you're there. But I did see him there. And then my girl, Sunrose, that I danced with Seahawks, I just felt like she needed to see him for her birthday in December. It was getting down to the last few days of his residency, and I was just like, I talked to her husband, and I was like, she's got to go. We got to figure this out. Long story short, here we go, day after Thanksgiving, taking our fast tails down there to see Usher again. But I am excited about Super Bowl. I'm excited to see how the Raiderettes are incorporated into all the things Super Bowl, even if they're not in the Super Bowl. And I mean, I'll be looking for everybody else posts about it, since I won't be there. But I can commit, early March, I'm going to go back to NYC, because you guys know I mean, I love everybody, but I got my teams, man. Because I've seen them, I know what to expect. The Brooklynettes still are just like top tier for me, and I want to see them perform again. So early March, there is a game sequence where I can see the Brooklynettes and then the Nick City Dancers the following day. Nick City Dancers are obviously on my radar. I really want to see in person what I see, so brilliantly posted about on social media. I want to come back with some like thoughts and observations, right? So I'm planning for that. Um, I cannot believe I haven't gotten back to DC. That drives me crazy. So there might be some like revisits and whatnot, but I have Chicago on my radar. I have DC, obviously. It's just a matter of timing. Um, and then I'm just gonna keep saying it because it's a one woman show. But if you are able to give any additional access, not you, but you know what I mean. If your team, your director, if you think there's like an opening where there might be, because that's obviously more bang for the buck in terms of making these trips happen. I'm so grateful, and it just makes the experience just that much sweeter, right? To be able to see you guys, for you to know I'm there, and to talk about it, right? To promote the heck out of it. So, just giving you a little preview, early preview. I will be at Pro Bowl. Come say hi. I'm excited for the interviews to come. Please let me know what you have in mind for auditions. Wow, episode ideas as well as interview ideas. And I'll just end on this note. Like, I know it's a new year, and maybe things went your way or maybe they didn't last year. I just want everybody to just allow this year to be a reset. I see teams posting about auditions already in the NFL. It's just like, dang, January 1 hits and they're already like posting about auditions. But just stay encouraged, and just kind of like, as Brittany would say, to the wind, just kind of like start fresh and really just take it day by day to just get to that best version of yourself each day. um, it's an exciting time. It's like a rebirth. You can just reinvent yourself, and just be yourself too. It's not like you need to become somebody else. It's just like, be you and be the best you that you can be, and attack these auditions like fiercely. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I'm on my Beyonce. That movie just, I loved that movie. I just love hearing her behind the scenes process. She's like just one of those people that just has such amazing visions and is willing to put in the work to make it come to life. So don't let anything stop you. Set your sights as high as you can. Put in that work. And I'm cheering for you. It'll be auditions time to talk very, very soon. But I think because it's the new year, I just want to encourage everybody to start fresh, and good luck working towards your dreams. I'm going to be doing the same thing, my little podcast dreams. But thanks for joining me tonight. I'm going to finish my rosé. Any questions? Good for the gander. Congrats again to Portland. Not congrats, but like, I just loved watching you. And so thank you for having me. Maybe that's what I really wanted to say. Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to coming back down before the season ends. And until next time, you guys. Ooh, miss you too, Jazz. Always love hearing from you. Yes, I definitely miss you. It makes me think of our DC. Jasmine, you guys have just been, like I said, one of my, like, from the very beginning, like, we were out into the universe thinking we were talking to literally nobody listening. And thank you, Jasmine, for all your support. I'm just excited for 2024. I'm excited to see people again. And ooh, you always enjoy it. Oh, thank you. Hey, you. Sorry, I didn't realize that was you. Victor said, I always enjoy your podcast. Oh, man. And I do need to get to more Seahawks games. I just need to be a season ticket holder at this point. Day one, Jazz, absolutely. But yes, so now that I'm talking again, hopefully more frequently, you guys let me know what you want me to tackle, any topics, any interviews. I'm excited. It'll help me plan. It'll help me get, re-engaged and whatnot. So I will talk to you next time. It will not be 50 million years later. Ooh, what's your thoughts about males going to Pro Bowl? Okay, Tyler, let's talk. Okay. This is the best part, is when you guys hit me up. Okay. The guys going to Pro Bowl. Here's the long, well, do you want the long or the short answer? The short answer is, I think it is a development in our space that I think is welcomed, and just, it's just even playing field. Like, I think that now that it's not just like this, let me back up. The trailblazers who have broken into like males dancing on these female dominant teams from the very beginning with Quentin. Um, oh my gosh, my brain just totally went left. The two Rams cheerleaders and the Saints cheerleaders. Oh, Napoleon and Jesse. Here we go. It's coming together. It's coming together. I think what their inaugural season, and this was the year the podcast started, like 2018, 2019 in the NFL, it really showed or established that when they're held to the same standard, doing the same routines, performing the same job description, if they shine to that level, or and the teams have different standards for selecting their Pro Bowl representative. But I will say, just having gone to Pro Bowl and seeing what's expected of the Pro Bowl dancers in terms, or cheerleaders in terms of the dancing, which is a lot of that, the fan interaction, I just would say that there's no reason that a male should not be selected for Pro Bowl if they're meeting all the requirements. And, from what I was able to see last year with our first male Pro Bowl cheerleader, Donovis from the Titans, from what I could tell, especially amongst the Pro Bowl sisterhood, brotherhood, what are we calling it, y'all? Family, Pro Bowl family. I just think that, it seemed just open arms, like welcoming, and, it just makes me proud that we've evolved as an industry where there's space that's made where it's not just, especially if you have these co-ed teams. Am I catching a cold? Cut it out. Where you have these co-ed teams, it wouldn't be fair if there was just kind of an unspoken rule that only women would be selected on a go-forward basis indefinitely. I just think that it's great that teams felt that they could break that mold in selecting a male Pro Bowl cheerleader. It's also great that the other women who were selected for Pro Bowl were welcoming of that male Pro Bowl cheerleader. And I just think it just shows evolution and growth in our space, because if somebody works their tail off and does all of the things for that team that make them, the ideal Pro Bowl candidate, then it's like only fair and right for them to be able to be selected. And this year, I mean, I'm not talking Pro Bowl yet, but we have another male Pro Bowl cheerleader. The New England Patriots have selected Dries for and he's been on the team. I have little notes, but I didn't write it for him. But in terms of just how many years on the team, he's a captain, an amazing performer. I have seen him perform in pro action a couple times, and I just think deserving. And I'm really delighted to see it personally. Hopefully I answered your question. He killed it at Pro Action, and I just think is a great representative. So I just think we're growing as a space, and I wish that we had a similar recognition for NBA. We also have a lot of co-ed teams in the NBA, and it would be interesting to see, what this selection is truly based upon, and if it's really open and based on talent, or based on, whatever it's based on. I mean, each team has their own way of selecting it, whether fans are voting for it, or your teammates are voting for it, or your director selects the Pro Bowl cheerleader. But if they're meeting the requirements and really stand up to be like that ideal representative, there's no reason that they should not be selected. And we're in a space now where we have our second Pro Bowl male cheerleader, and it's amazing. Maybe I missed something else, but hopefully I answered your question. I'm excited to cover it. I'm sure I just think we've kind of broken that plane. And so it's something that there just won't be that barrier like, oh, it can only be women. Yes, thank you. Wonderful. I'm glad I answered your question. Keep the questions coming. Oh, the last thing I'll say before I let you go is that we did a little check-in, like a state of the industry survey, and it's still nagging me. I was trying to check in with you guys to see how you were doing. Now we're reaching at least midway point for NBA, maybe end of season for NFL. And one of the questions that really struck me was that only like 50% of you were like overall satisfied with where the industry is going. Something to that effect. I'm going to go back. I have notes on it. But I wanted to see if you guys were open to like digging a little deeper and explaining why, because that was a stat that actually I found a little shocking. Um, like there were a lot of questions in that survey of like, talk about bullying or talk about this, talk about that. And um, there were some interesting responses, and maybe that really does shed some light on why only half of you were like satisfied with where the industry was going. But I want to hear from you. So expect to see some follow-up questions or maybe open-ended questions when people write in and respond to those survey responses. Like, it doesn't go anywhere in terms of like who said what. I'm just trying to like understand. And I know you only get to say so much when you respond to the surveys, but I just want to hear from you and kind of understand why people have concerns about where the industry is going. I have thoughts on where the industry is going. Maybe since it's January and we're like new year, new you, whatever, whatever, we can talk about kind of like where we're going and how we feel about where we're going and what improvements, if any, that we think need to be made, because y'all didn't seem like you were feeling it. And I'm kind of like, what's going on and why? So expect a little bit of follow up on that. I want to hear from you. It'll be anonymous, but we'll just be honest. We can honestly discuss our space. No, nothing personal. I love everybody. I'm rooting for everybody. But I mean, I'm noticing some things, that I'll stick my neck out to say that probably others are thinking, or I'll just share what other people share anonymously. But I think that might be the next cheer chat topic unless something else comes up. I will also be posting about, do you want to have an episode or like not interview, but a podcast episode about Pro Bowl or a cheer chat episode about Pro Bowl. And that's it. Any other questions before I go? Enjoy my rosé. I've enjoyed talking to you. Happy 2024. I'll be in touch soon if there's nothing else. Thank you for joining me. You guys have a wonderful evening, and I'll talk to you soon.